Hey book lovers, I'm Elise and welcome to a new reading vlog. This is outro me. I just finished the vlog. It is Sunday night. There's some good things in store, so enjoy the vlog. Hello. It's Friday, March 15th. It is Friday, March 15th. My children are with their father this weekend. My fiance went out west for a couple weeks. So it's just little me for the weekend. Here's my thing. Here's what's going on. I haven't read a single 5-star at all this year. And I'm starting to get into quite a slump. I keep starting new books because I get bored with the books that I'm reading. And that's not good. That's not a good situation to be in. So what I wanted to do this weekend was pick out some books to read and maybe challenge myself to read as many books as I can. But here's the clincher. I have to do it with a book that I have an audiobook for. And I say that because there are a few books that I'm reading right now that I don't have the audiobook for. And while I do enjoy physically reading books, it does take longer. If the book is not really catching my attention, it's like so much harder to get through. So it has to be a book that I physically own, and it has to be a book that I have the audiobook for. The other thing, I'm a mood reader, but I'm also like really overwhelmed right now. I don't know what I want to read. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go gather a stack of books that fit that criteria, and I'm gonna bring them down here, and I'll do some kind of random number generator or something, and based on wherever that book is in the stack, that's the book that I'm gonna read. And hopefully I can get through at least 2 this weekend, maybe more, depending on how long it is. So I just finished work and I do have sprints tonight over on Keisha's channel, so I will be joining them and doing some reading. But I've been cooped up all day and it's pretty sunny out. I need to get out of the house. I need to get some sunshine. So it's 20 after 6. So I have not that much time before sprints. So I need to hurry up and do this, pick a book, ideally start it, read the first chapter or 2. Like I like to sit down, hold it in my hand, listen as I'm, just to get hooked. And then maybe a couple chapters in, I'll go outside, go for a walk. Probably not as long as I normally do because that's typically like a 45 minute walk. And I don't have that much time because I also have to make dinner before sprints. So anyways, let me go get some books and we'll go from there. So I looked through all the books that I have physically that I also have an audiobook for. I didn't grab every single one. I just grabbed the ones that I thought sounded kind of good right now. So there's a lot that I left off just because I didn't really feel in the mood for that type of story. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 books on here. So I'll show you what they are real quick. I'm not gonna get into the synopses or anything like that. The first is The Clinic by Kate Quinn. The next one is On Earth as It Is on Television by Emily Jane. I love the cover of this one. And then we have Gothikana by Rue Nix. The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult? I'm not quite sure how to say her last name. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I was supposed to read this one this past week for the Backlist Readathon, but I didn't even get through one book for that, unfortunately. So I had this whole video that I was doing and I'm unfortunately gonna scrap it. The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. The Celebrants by Stephen Rowley. The September House by Carissa Orlando. Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. I actually technically kind of unhauled this. I had it listed on my Pango store for a while, but then when we were moving, I was collecting all my books to bring over to the new place, and this one caught my eye, and I'm like, maybe I won't unhaul this. So I removed the listing and put it back on my shelves. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany by Lori Nelson Spielman. Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Kist. And finally, Legends and Lattes. So honestly, if any of these books are chosen, I think I'd be happy. I put them all in a stack right here, and whatever position they are in, that's gonna be their number, starting with number 1 at the very top. Let me get a random number generator. Oops, gotta change the max to 16. All right, and generate. 4. That is really funny, 1, 2, 3, 4, because I kid you not, when I grabbed this book, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna read. All right, I'm going to be starting The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany. So I'm going to try to get a couple chapters in and then That way, hopefully I'll be in it enough that I can still follow along while I'm just listening to the audio while I do my walk. And then come home, make some dinner, sprint start in an hour and a half. I will try to update you before I go into sprints and kind of let you know what my initial thoughts are. So I am 10 chapters in, which is approximately 60 pages. Hang on, my tea kettle's on. I don't know why I couldn't have just waited like 5 seconds to start filming. Anyways, 10 chapters in. So this is a romance. I didn't realize it was a romance. It feels very like contemporary not rom-com, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a typical romance, but we follow Amelia. She is a 29-year-old woman, part of a very large Italian family, and she is the second-born daughter, which is kind of a problem because way back when, like, I don't know how many generations ago, one of the women in her family, Filomena Fontana, back in Italy, and again, this is like multiple generations back, she thought that her sister, which was her younger sister, so the second-born daughter, was fooling around with her man behind her back, which wasn't the case. Actually, the guy was just a piece of work. Filomena cursed her younger sister, which then cursed all the second-born daughters in this family to be alone forever, basically. Present day, like I said, Amelia is 29. She works in her family's bakery. She seems pretty content with life. She's close with her sister. She has this guy who's like her best friend, and he's kind of been there for her entire life, and he's her plus one to everything. So prom, family weddings, things like that, he always goes with her. And it kind of sounds like he wants to take it further, but she doesn't have any interest in that. Well, one day Amelia gets a letter from her great aunt, I believe it's her great aunt Poppy, who was her mom's sister. So her grandma and her great aunt don't get along. And we don't know why yet. We are learning that. But anyway, Poppy was like, hey, you know, I'm a second-born daughter, you're a second-born daughter, let's go to Italy. So Poppy is trying to convince Amelia to go to Italy with her. And then they were just talking about also bringing one of her cousins, Lucy, I think it's Lucy, who's also a second-born daughter, to come with them. Amelia is like, oh, Nona, her grandma, would never allow it. And I'm like, I'm thinking to it, like, okay, to a certain extent, I understand, like, these big families with, like, a matriarch type individual, you know, you respect that person and what they say goes. But at the same time, if I were a 29-year-old woman, ain't no mom, no dad, no grandma telling me what I can and can't do with my life. But that's just me. I think it's dual POV. We've only gotten 2 POVs so far. We've gotten Amelia, but then we also get POVs from Poppy. We just finally got one, but it's like the 1950s or 60s in Italy when she's younger. Actually, like just before she and her sister, Amelia's grandma, came to America. So yeah, it's fine. I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. It's a fine read. I made my salad and I popped some popcorn because I needed a little snacky snack after my salad. Made some tea, made my Crystal Light water. Sprints are in about 15 minutes. So I am gonna go log in, get comfy, keep eating, and I will update you after sprints once I've made some more progress. Sprints went well. I got quite a bit of reading done. I am now up to page like 159 which is chapter 25. It's going fine. I'm liking it. Well, after sprints, I ended up putting the book down and I had to finish my dinner because I didn't have time to finish it before sprints and I didn't eat a whole lot during sprints. So finished my dinner, watched a few episodes of Modern Family, and then showered, got ready for bed, and right now I'm watching, I just had 27 Dresses playing. This is actually my first night alone at the new house. When I was showering and stuff, I just put 27 Dresses on just to have like a familiar audio in the background because I've seen it a bajillion times. Now I'm just kind of laying in bed watching that until I get tired enough to turn up the lights. I'm liking the characters. I think Aunt Poppy, she's a hoot. She's this flamboyant, youthful woman who's almost 80 years old, just so full of life. She talks to everybody that she sees, even when they were boarding the plane to go to Italy. The whole reason that Poppy wanted them to go to Italy, Poppy said that she knew how to break the curse. So Amelia being a second-born daughter, Lucy being a second-born daughter, they wanted to go. I initially thought that Amelia kind of fed into this curse, but she doesn't really, or maybe she's just kind of in denial. Lucy, however, she's leaning hard into it. Like, she's convinced that every single guy that she's been seeing and didn't work out, it's because of the curse. And there have been a lot of guys. And she's a really fun character too. She's very straightforward, she's just an interesting character. I'm liking the flashbacks to, we're in 1960 now, and so it's basically Poppy telling her story. She was supposed to go with her sister to America to marry this man, but they had to wait. They had to wait like a year or something, or they had to get a job and save money to be able to afford to go to America. And in the meantime, Poppy met this German guy, and they kind of fell in love. I think the romance aspect of this book is this blooming romance between Poppy and Rico. It doesn't feel like a typical romance novel. It does feel very contemporary, and it reminds me a lot of Letters to Juliet. So the whole taking an elderly family member back to Italy. Oh, okay, so I guess that's one complaint that I have, is that Poppy and Lucy both were giving Amelia such a hard time. So Amelia she's like a plain Jane. She dresses for herself, for nobody else, so she dresses for comfort. She's not very stylish. She's quiet. She doesn't like to party. And they're giving her such a hard time about it, like making it sound like that's a bad way to be. And they're trying to convince her that this woman that she is not the woman that she has to die as. Like almost trying to convince her to become more like them. And I don't really like that. Of all of these characters, I of course am more like Amelia. I don't like to party. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. I don't dress super fashionably. I dress for comfort, but I don't think that makes me any less of a woman. I don't think that makes me, a boring individual. That's what makes me happy. And like they're trying to convince Amelia that she's not happy, that she's in denial, that, I don't know. There was this whole conversation about it, and she's even trying to like defend herself. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, I like the way that I am. Poppy especially, she's like, no you don't. I don't know what's gonna come of that. I'm very curious, but that's probably my biggest complaint. I'm gonna go to bed, so I'll see you tomorrow once I've read more. You wanna know how immature I am? That will never not be funny. Good morning. Well, good afternoon. It's afternoon now. I'm not just getting up. I've been up, I've had breakfast, I've read a few more chapters. I was wearing something different, but I put my same sweatshirt back on from yesterday because I'm about to go get some coffee and get some groceries. I will probably listen. Actually, I should plug in my headphones. I will probably listen to the audiobook while I'm out and about running errands. Sorry, I got dark in the laundry room. No updates really. Here, let me put you down for a sec. It's kind of just like the same stuff. We haven't learned anything more. Definitely a hat day. I might go for a walk when I get back home, but I don't know, it depends. I'm feeling really hungry today, and of course reading this book is making me really want Italian food. So I might try to get some ingredients to make like a delicious creamy pasta, maybe get a bottle of wine. Yeah, there's so much Italy in this book, and I really want wine and pasta. So I'll probably keep listening to the story when I'm out and about running my errands. So I think the audiobook says I have like 2.5 hours left. So I'm gonna finish it today, which is exciting because it's not even 1:30 yet. You know, between listening to it while I'm in town and then, you know, if I just sit down and finish it when I get home or if I go on my walk, I'll be able to start another book this afternoon. So that's exciting. Back home. That was crazy. So there's so much traffic. I guess I don't usually get groceries on the weekend. I usually go during the week, like on my lunch break or after work. So yeah, it was crazy. So much traffic in town and getting groceries. There was like so many people. I got a lot of other groceries, but I wanted to share what I got to make dinner tonight. So I got these mozzarella, tomato, and basil ravioli. For the sauce, I already have some canned diced tomatoes and tomato paste. So I'm gonna do that with some heavy whipping cream, garlic, a little bit of lemon, and then I got some shredded Parmesan cheese and a bottle of Pinot Noir to go along with that. I am super excited for dinner. It is only 4:13. And I need lunch. I'm starving. I will not be going for a walk because it did start raining. Anyways, so the book. A lot happened. We found out a lot more about Poppy and kind of what went on with her and Rico. The big family secret finally came out and it's a little crazy. I'm very interested to hear the explanation as to why this person did what they did, because that's not cool. And then the way it was handled, ooh, I'm upset. As far as my enjoyment of the book, it is declining a little bit, like the way that the story went, because it changed from like this adventure between 3 girls to something else, I guess, a little bit more on the romance side that I didn't really like as much. And then something happened and there was like a really silly insta-love type situation that took place that really made me roll my eyes. But to be fair, I think it did make sense for that character because this particular character is not old, but you know, she's not a teenager. She's not in her early 20s. She doesn't have much experience. So when she does experience intimacy with an individual, she is like planning their wedding afterwards. Like, oh my gosh, we're in love. We're going to be together forever. Planning like visiting him for Christmas and things like that. It's like, girl, slow down. That was really irritating. But again, I do think it makes sense for the character considering her lack of experience. But anyways, that kind of irritated me a little bit. And then, like I said, just kind of where the story went as far as the adventures in Italy. At this point, I'm really struggling. Like, I probably shouldn't even say anything until I actually finish the book. But I am kind of feeling what did feel like a 4-star is leaning more towards a 3-star now at this point. I don't see it going back up to a 4-star. I think this book is well written. I think it is very immersive as far as the Italy side of things. I mean, obviously it heavily influenced my choice of dinner this evening, so that part is all fine and dandy. But as far as the romance part, I'm not loving it. It's fine. I would recommend this book to a ton of people. I would say if you want to live vicariously through a book as far as travel to Italy, this would be a good book to pick up. I do think it's well written. I do think the characters are well done. I'm going to eat, probably watch a little bit of TV, and then I will finish this book, give you my final thoughts, and then we'll pick the next book. So I just finished and it is 3 stars. The whole explanation that I was waiting for as why this particular person made this particular choice wasn't good enough for me. It was good enough for the characters in the story, supposedly. Not good enough for me. Not a good enough reason to do what they did. So there's that. I think that character is a terrible person, honestly. 3 stars, not a bad rating. I would definitely recommend this book to a lot of people. This isn't your typical romance. I wouldn't say, not that I'm a huge romance reader. There's no smut. They do allude to a couple things going on, but it's all kind of like fade to black. It's very adventurous. It is a little bit heartbreaking because it is partially historical, and I feel like a lot of historical fiction have a bit of heartbreak in there. Specifically, you know, one of the characters is from Germany, and this is during the time that the Berlin Wall went up. So yeah, I mean, I think if you like historical romance, this would be a good one for you. If you like adventurous, contemporary type books, if you have any desire to go to Italy, I think this would be a really good one. That is the Starcrest Sisters of Tuscany. Now I get to find out the next book that I will be reading and generate 10. Okay, so we are reading The Guncle next. The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. Patrick, or Gay Uncle Patrick, Gup for short, has always loved his niece, Maisie, and nephew, Grant. That is, he loves spending time with them when they come out to Palm Springs for week-long visits, or when he heads home to Connecticut for the holidays. But in terms of caretaking and relating to 2 children, no matter how adorable, Patrick is honestly overwhelmed. So when tragedy strikes and Maisie and Grant lose their mother, and Patrick's brother has a health crisis of his own, Patrick finds himself suddenly taking on the role of primary guardian. Despite having a set of Guncle rules ready to go, Patrick has no idea what to expect, having spent years barely holding on after the loss of his great love, a somewhat stalled acting career, and a life that's not so suited to a 6- and 9-year-old. Quickly realizing that parenting, even if temporary, isn't solved with treats and jokes, Patrick opens his eyes to a new sense of responsibility and the realization that sometimes even being larger than life means you're unfailingly human. With humor and heart, The Guncle is a moving tribute to the power of love, patience, and family in even the most trying of times. I've had this one for quite a while, so I'm excited to finally get to it. What is it considered? I think it's just considered a contemporary. And I totally forgot. There's a sequel to this coming out in May, The Guncle Abroad. Okay, well, cool. I can read that now. It has 132,000 ratings, 4.15 average. Yeah, just fiction, LGBT, contemporary. He is the husband of Byron Lane, who is the debut author of Big Gay Wedding, which was on my top 10 books of 2023. All right, Hannah has sprints starting at 8, a little more than an hour and a half away. So I'm probably going to tune into that when that starts. But I think first, I'm kind of cold and my back is kind of sore. And one of the things that I got at the store when I got groceries was a huge bag of eucalyptus Epsom salt. So I think I'm gonna go take a bath, just relax and get started on the book, and then after that I'll probably get started on dinner. So I will catch up with you in just a bit with my initial thoughts. I just noticed the TV was like in focus and I was blurry. I hope that entire clip was not blurry. Oh my gosh. Hello. So I've been in the chat of Hannah's sprints since 8 o'clock, going on 11 now. Finished my bath, made my dinner, and it turned out really good. I was very impressed with it. Totally satisfied the craving that I had for a delicious pasta dish. And there was plenty for leftovers, so I can have it again tomorrow or sometime next week for lunch. I am about halfway into the Guncle. So between reading during my bath and reading during sprints, I'm on page 157. I'm partway through a chapter right now, and I'm liking it. It does start out kind of sad because the 2 kids that Patrick takes in, his niece and nephew, their mom just died. Their mom was really close friends with Patrick in college, and then Patrick's brother ended up marrying her and they had kids together. And there apparently was, I don't know if it was a falling out or she just became more of his brother's wife and less of his friend, but they grew apart, so they haven't really been in touch the last however many years. She did pass away. Their dad, so Patrick's brother, Patrick went to, I think they live in Connecticut. He went to Connecticut like for the funeral and whatnot. His brother admitted to him that he needed Patrick to take the kids because he needed to go to rehab ever since his wife was diagnosed. and throughout her illness, he was addicted to pills. The place that he is going to rehab is actually really close to where Patrick lives in Palm Springs, California. And at first, Patrick was like, what, are you crazy? Absolutely not. I'm not a kid person, yada yada. To the point where even their sister, Clara, she's like, cause she's a mom, she's married, she has kids. Clara's like, it's fine, we'll take them. And he's like, no, you know what? They need a change of scenery. They need to get through this. It's fine, I'll take them. So he does, he takes them to Palm Springs, and there's like a whole thing that happens on the plane on the way there. And it was just really, really sweet because he, despite saying that he's not a kid person, he did really well. There was kind of a meltdown. The youngest, the boy is 6 and the girl is, I believe, 9. And the boy had like a meltdown. And because the boy was having a meltdown, the girl had started having a meltdown. He handled it really well. It was just really cool. It was a really cool thing. And he's just like, he's the fun gay uncle, but he's very protective of them. And it's, you know, it's very clear that he loves them, and he really does have a good, I don't know, he has a knack for it. Like, he says he's not a kid person, but he clearly is doing really, really well. And Patrick, he is an out of work actor. He's kind of famous, but like, I don't know, maybe like C-list actor, I don't really know. And he's kind of in the process of trying to like reinvigorate his career. It's funny and it's well written. Anyways, I cleaned up the kitchen, put leftovers away, made some tea. I'm gonna finish out these sprints, and then I might just keep reading. I don't know if I'll stay down here, maybe like go get ready for bed and read in bed until I can't keep my eyes open. Yeah, but most likely I will update you again tomorrow. I just finished the Guncle and I'm very excited to say it's 4 stars. I didn't realize until I finished it, but the audiobook is actually narrated by the author Stephen Rowley, so that's kind of cool. Oh, I meant to look up, if this book is ever turned into a movie, I know the perfect man to play Patrick, Andrew Rannells, and he would be perfect. If you don't know who I'm talking about, he played in Girls. I mean, he's played in so many things. That's the guy who I imagined as Patrick throughout the entire book. This book, it was really good. It was really fun. It does focus a lot around grief, lots of emotional parts, lots of very touching parts, but I mean, overall, it's fun, and it's not like there was a whole lot that happened in this book. I mean, it's definitely a focus on the characters and kind of the grief that they're going through and trying to come through it to the other side in one piece. And I think that's why his brother Greg left the kids with him rather than his sister Clara. Patrick experienced grief as well, and you learn more about that as the book goes on, but he lost somebody in his life a few years back. He struggled through the grief, so he was actually maybe kind of the perfect person to help his niece and nephew like keep the light in their life. And I don't know, this was just a really good time. I really enjoyed this. This was a good one, very heartfelt. It was just funny. It was a funny book. Okay, get a new number here. 12. So 12 is the number. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Oh. Okay. Can you see it? I'm kind of nervous about this one. Gothikana by Rue Nix with the gorgeous purple sprayed edges. I'm nervous, but like I'm not nervous, but I am, because it's a dark romance. And have I read one of those before? I don't remember. Nothing is coming to mind. For those of you that don't know, this was originally indie published and it was available on KU and was just recently traditionally published through Bramble, who's part of Tor. I usually love Tor, so. Okay, so I'm gonna read Gothikana. It is 4 o'clock. I kind of want to watch a movie. There's a couple movies on Netflix that I want to watch. I've wanted to watch Damsel, which just recently came out with Millie Bobby Brown. And then when I was sprinting with Keisha and Heather on Friday night, they told me about, what is it, like The Irish Wish or something like that? So like a St. Patrick's Day themed movie with Lindsay Lohan that just came out on Netflix. And I kind of want to watch that too, especially today because it is St. Patrick's Day. But I'm really intrigued. Like, initially I was gonna be like, well, I'll just take a break and watch a movie, but I kind of want to jump into this and, you know, see what it's all about. I've heard it's like a Beauty and the Beast. Let me just read you the synopsis. An outcast her entire life, Corvina Clem is left adrift after losing her mother. When she receives the admission letter from the mysterious University of Everand, she accepts it as a sign from the universe. The last thing she expects, though, is an old secluded castle on top of a mountain riddled with secrets, deceit, and death. Vad Deverell. Oh, I remember when I talked about this for my book haul video. Every time I read Vad in the description, I kept wanting to say Vlad, and I'm like, that's gonna take some getting used to. Vad Deverell is an enigma and enjoys being a closed book, but knows exactly everything that happens in the university. As a part-time professor working on his thesis, Vad has been around long enough to know the dangers the castle possesses, and he knows the moment his path crosses with Corvina that she's dangerous to everything that he is. They shouldn't have caught each other's eye. They cannot be, but a chill-inducing century-old mystery forces them to collide. People have disappeared every 5 years for more than 100 years. Corvina is getting clues to unraveling it all, and Vad needs to keep an eye on her. And so begins a tale of the mysterious, the morbid, the macabre, and a deep love that blossoms in the unlikeliest of places. There's like a huge playlist at the end. Lana Del Rey, Halsey, Billie Eilish, Evanescence, Florence and the Machine. Okay. Well, interesting. Here we go. Excuse me, I just had to tell you this. I just went on to Goodreads to add Gothikana to my currently reading list. The description says the eternal romance of Beauty and the Beast meets the gothic suspense of Dracula. I love Dracula. In this erotic, dark academy... Pretend I didn't say that. In this erotic, dark academia story of epic love from bestselling author Runix. Beauty and the Beast meets Dracula. I don't think it means that there's vampires. Like I said, it's like the gothic suspense of it, but ooh. Okay, I'm excited. Okay, the only reason that I have put down this book is because my grandma called me. Because I was on a roll, and honestly, I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna put this book down and do an update. So you can thank my grandma for this update right now. I'm really liking this. Plus, I love the naked hardcover. I have to say something funny. Both of my kids have pretty uncommon names. I mean, not like unheard of. They're definitely becoming more popular now, at least when they were born. Like, I didn't know of any children that had their names. But anyways, my oldest, his first name and his middle name, his middle name's not as uncommon, but there's a character with his first name and then there's a character with his middle name. So I think that's kind of funny. So hopefully those characters don't turn out to be bad or anything. It is super atmospheric. I'm really liking the writing style. Corvina is the main character. She's 21. Well, actually, it's her 22nd birthday right now. Oh, well, okay. I should probably tell you. I am 133 pages in. So it's like about a third of the way. So it's her 22nd birthday right now. So this university, I'm not understanding yet, like, how the students at this university are chosen, but they all seem to have like a bit of a past that's maybe tragic or sad or dark. I don't really have that part figured out yet, but Corvina at the age of 21 got her like acceptance letter, and it wasn't even an acceptance letter, it was just like an unsolicited letter, like your letter from Hogwarts, like, congratulations, we want you at this school. This university, it's like this giant castle on top of this mountain that takes forever to drive up, and it's surrounded by woods and a lake, and there's so much imagery. And there's like gargoyles and like really high turrets, and there's crows everywhere, and I'm really liking this. I'm loving the imagery. I'm in heaven right now. Could this be my first 5-star of the year? I don't know, maybe. So when Corvina first gets to the school, she meets this girl, Jade. She's 19, she's redoing her first year because last year was her first year, but something bad happened and she like ran away. So now she's back to redo her first year, and so she and Corvina are going to be roommates. And so Jade is kind of like showing her the ropes, and so Corvina kind of by default joins Jade and her friend group. And Jade tells her about this teacher who, he's both a professor and a student because he's a doctoral student, but he's also teaching. And I guess there's a history of him having relations with other students. Jade is warning Corvina, like, yeah, he's hot, but stay away from him. It's not that, it's Vaude Deverell. So they are drawn together like magnets. It's honestly giving me like Twilight vibes, you know, in the beginning. So like Bella joins this new school, joins this friends group, and the friends are telling her about, oh, this mysterious guy, like, don't waste your time with him type thing. But then the thing about Corvina is that I don't know if she's like a witch necessarily, but she has certain gifts. Like there's a voice that she always hears, and she always listens to this voice because it has never steered her wrong and it's protective. So like, for instance, when she was first in her dorm room, the voice, she kept noticing like these weird things, and there's a lot of weird things that she's noticing in this castle. Dark things, that really shouldn't be there. And the voice, when she's unpacking in her dorm, the voice is like, you need to cleanse your space. So she gets out her incense and her crystals. And that's another thing that I really like about this book, because I'm into that stuff too, not to the extent of Corvina. She has tarot decks and incense and candles and crystals and all of these new age woo-woo type things that I'm also into. So yeah, I'm enjoying myself. And like I said, if it hadn't been for my grandma calling, I would not have put this book down. I have no doubt that I'm going to finish this book tonight. I'm going to get back to it. Oh, also, we've gotten a couple scenes between Corvina and Vaude, and nothing has really happened yet, which I appreciate. This is deemed an erotic dark romance, but I like that right now it's forbidden. There's a lot of tension and lust, and nothing has actually, you know, nothing's happened yet. Just the way that the scenes that have happened where there's an increase in tension, like they're gonna be very well done. I can tell. I'm gonna jump back into it, and I will maybe update you later, or maybe I will not talk to you until I am done with the book, because I am devouring this. You guys, this is 5 stars. Oh my gosh, I have not had a 5-star since December. It is March 17th. I'm ecstatic. I knew pretty soon into this book that there was a high potential that it would be 5 stars, because I was reading it, as one does, and before I knew it, I was like up to 80 pages, up to 200 pages, up to 300 pages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea the weight that has been lifted from my chest. I thought I was broken not having a 5-star in so long. This book was amazing. So let's talk about it. It is marketed as a dark romance, and it is dark. Please check trigger warnings. But as far as the like, this isn't any worse than A Court of Silver Flames as far as like the spice level. I would say just as many blush inducing scenes took place in this book as did in A Court of Silver Flames. And they were really well done. And that's a big thing for me. Like, I don't usually like reading smut spice, but if a book is gonna have it, if it's cringy, I'm out. This was not cringy at all. This was so well done. It was written so well. It was atmospheric as heck. The beginning of every chapter has a quote from like a different piece of Gothic classic literature. There are quotes from Wuthering Heights. There are quotes from Dracula, from Frankenstein, Edgar Allan Poe. The whole vibe of this book is absolutely immaculate. I am so obsessed. Anyways, back to what I was saying at how this is marketed as a dark romance. Yeah, it's dark. Yes, it's romance, but I would not classify it as just a strictly romance. To me, this book felt more so a fantasy than a romance. So if anything, I would classify this as a dark fantasy, maybe a dark romantasy, but it even has aspects of a thriller and a mystery involved. So this book had so many layers, so many really interesting parts to it. I really enjoyed my experience with this. I'm so happy that I was able to include it in this vlog. This is 5 stars, y'all. As far as Vaude, I was trying to picture people for Vaude and Corvina. So at one point I was looking up fan art and I couldn't find a whole lot. And for Vaude, I don't know why, but, oh, what is his name? Daddario? I can't think of his first name. Matthew Daddario, I think. I don't know. He's the guy that a lot of people fan cast as Asriel, as do I. That's who I kept picturing for Vaude. And I'm an Azrael girly, so this was almost an Azrael fan fiction to me. He's Shadow Daddy, I don't know. This was the most satisfying reading experience, even though it's I didn't love this book. It was still a good book, and it inspired the most amazing dinner. That's a win. And this was so touching and funny. That's a win. And this was amazing in my first 5-star in months. So this vlog has been a huge win. Well, it is, what time is it? It's 10:15. I'm not going to bed. I'm not gonna watch a movie like I wanted to, but I've been reading all day. I'm gonna make some popcorn and I'm gonna watch some Modern Family. Probably gonna watch a couple episodes of that. Enjoy the rest of my evening. It's been a great weekend. Thank you all so much for being here, for watching this. Please remember to like and subscribe, and until next time, bye.